Hello and welcome everyone, I am Maddles and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today guys, I have got game 1 of a best of 3, it is from the Zotac Cup and it is between 80's Sage, the blue Protoss player in the top right, who's up against FXOStrelok, who is the green Terran in the lower left. Now green is my favourite colour for any race in all of StarCraft 2, I just think it looks amazing, so well, props for picking the best colour there, Strelok. Now, the map is, of course, Cloud Kingdom. It is the GSL version. No, not the GSL version. Which version is it? I can't remember. I always forget which version it is when it's a tournament map. But basically, supply depot, which means there can be no pylon wall-offs or anything like that. A really early probe coming across, though, from Sage. That is very, very, very early. So, that pylon's coming down exceptionally quickly as well. What's going on here, guys? Guys, what are you doing? What kind of funkiness is about to happen? All I can see is a very early, very, very early pylon. What are you planning to do, Sage? Are you going to do something like a proxy gate? I think you are. And is Strelok anywhere available to deal with that? No. He has a supply depot giving vision, but I don't know if he can actually see that. No, he can! He can see the gateway! That is like a miracle little supply depot there. Oh, that is just such good placement that he spotted that. And Sage, your miraculous plan isn't going to work out because he can see what you're doing. If you just built the gateway there, it would have all been fine. But there's a second barrack getting thrown down. Strelok knows exactly what he needs to do in order to defend this, which is basically get a lot of Marines out. And well, this is the right way to go about doing it, is getting a lot back. A pylon being built in the mineral line. Now you may be thinking, hey, what's that doing? Well, it's basically stopping both these mineral patches being mined and both of those SCVs from doing anything. So that is actually a cool little trick there. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that before in a game of cast. So that is awesome, and it does finish as well. So those SCVs are going to be trapped there for an awful long time, and that actually takes a big hit to the amount of resources able to be gathered by Strelok in the early game, especially before he gets that taken out. Now, of course, we do have the bunker on its way down. That gateway chrono boosting out a zealot as quickly as he can. Sage really quite committed to this. Meanwhile, put a pylon down outside is natural, so it looks like he may even expand behind this, which would be a pretty bold move judging by the positioning of everything. But still, those two mineral spots are not doing anything at all, and that's actually really hurting Strelok's ability to really produce anything. Now, of course, we do have the SCV getting taken out, so the bunker is unable to finish. The pylon finally goes down, but there's quite a lot of income that won't be done. The bunker does finish though, and that is really going to be the end to any of this pressure from Sage, because that bunker is not going to be taken down easy. We've got two zealots, of course, sitting here. They can do a bit of containment, but the Marines are going to be able to easily deal with those two zealots. I mean, it'll be very simple for Strelok to do that now, and to be honest, I don't think Sage has done enough damage. He is getting a third zealot out now. He's trying to come in for kind of a little trap maneuver there, but loses a zealot in the process for one Marine. In terms of the resources lost, obviously Sage coming out quite a lot worse here. Marines can deal with zealots effectively as long as you micro them, as is being done here, and anyone who's played the StarCraft 2 Master game from Blizzard in the arcade will know the Marines can kill. Just two Marines can kill a zealot forever, just by kind of wandering them round and round and round and round, which is all good fun. But we do see, obviously, Sage really committing to this, and I think perhaps overcommitting is the point he would be at now, because he's lost an awful lot of resources, and he has done very little damage. He's going to lose these as well, which will be another 250 rather resources down, but a counter-attack could possibly be on the card. So the double photon cannon is really the only thing that is going to save Sage right now. So this is turning out to be a pretty funky game. A third photon cannon on its way, but quite a few Marines coming over. They won't be able to punch through 3 photon cannons, so there's just no way they'll have enough firepower. Meanwhile, an expansion coming out here for Strelok. An expansion already is down, of course, for Sage. It is already half done, so he will have that natural up slightly quicker. That pylon will go down momentarily, but this is where the action's going to be, and quite rightly those Marines pulling back, thinking, nope, not going to go through that. So going to come and really turn full kelter and try and come back. And of course the double barracks are not really doing anything at the moment. A third command center on its way down here for Strelok. He knows he's ahead, but in order to stay ahead he needs to stay a base up, so he is really going for a good move there. Now looking back up at the base here, there is of course no gateway. Now that is going to be a bit of a pain, because that means no units at all for Sage for quite a long time now, because obviously he has got the cybernetics core out, which will be really helpful, but without that gateway it is not going to be fun trying to produce anything. And I'm not actually sure if once you've lost the gateway, can you still tech up higher? Apparently you can. It only requires... That's quite interesting. I thought it would have required a gateway as well, but who knows? That is all Very, very cool. I didn't know that if you lost the game over inside the Cybercore, you could still tech higher, but each their own. Anyway, we do have here, of course, the command center on its way down. That's the third command center. The natural command center is already morphing into an orbital command. We've got the tech lab and reactor, a third barracks being added on here for Strelok, who is really looking to be in a good spot. We've got more gateways adding now. It's going to pretty much be the 3 gates. That Forge done nothing other than provide the tech path to get the photon cannons up for defense. So Sage does have some coming back to do. He is ahead in the work account still just. But of course, once that third command center does start kicking out some SCVs, I reckon Strelok's going to pull ahead. Also, you've got to factor in the mules. They count for about 5 workers each in terms of the mineral income, so that's going to be very, very useful as well. Now, both players are still on just 2 gas. We've got the robotic facility coming down as well now, so going to be interested to see how Sage transitions into the mid game now, because obviously his early aggression didn't play out too well. We've got a missile turret coming down here for Strelok, and that is a brilliant choice because he probably feels he's ahead, meaning Sage should feel behind and therefore might Dark Shrine and try and send some DTs, and that missile turret means he's completely safe from any DT harassment, which is just such a clever move. Also could potentially pick off an observer should one stray too close. The third gas on the way down now, as well as the third and fourth gas coming down for Sage. The robotic facility is nearly finished up. Of course, warp gate tech only just finishing now. That's quite a late warp gate tech, but I think for the moment I definitely call this in Strelok's favour. I mean, he's up to, well, he's still catching up in terms of the work account, but should have a higher mineral income, and there we go, we do. That's all because of the mules. And of course, Strelok's already got his third base. He just has to float it down here whenever he feels comfortable taking it. But for the moment, he's got Stim on the way out. His reactor's still going steady. The factory coming out probably just going to be used to get power add-ons and also get the starport out, because that is really what Strelok's going to be after, because obviously stage 2 of a PVT is getting a lot of marine and marauders and medevacs out and stimming your way across and just eating any gateway units. And the response from Sage ultimately is he needs to get up either those lovely Colossus or either High Templar with Storm, or preferably both. Both is a good way to deal with it, but we do see here at the moment Sage getting a lot more gateways. That will take him up to a grand total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gates. So again, not a huge amount, not quite an all-in, but 7 gate with a robo is very aggressive. It will be difficult to get an expansion behind that. Of course, the Observer I don't think can be seen quite yet by the radius of that missile turret, but it's right on the border of it. So those Marines, if they were a bit lucky, could pick it off. But currently the Observer being very, very careful. The starport out now, double medevac production has now been started. 1 Marine coming to check the status of the third base of Sage. And well, we've got the robotics bay down, so the Colossus is started. Extended thermal lance coming down, as well as a chrono boost on the Colossus itself. So this is all going fairly standard, at least as I would say, for the moment now, after a bit of a strange opening. Now, of course, the factory is going to go and scout, because that's what factories do in TvP. They don't really, there's no real factory units that are any good against Protoss, so you just get it for the tech, and then you run it across the other side of the map. More barracks are still being produced because, of course, Marine, Marauder, Medevac is the way to go. The third base has floated down. There's that 1 probe gets taken out, though. The proxy pylon a mile away. A third base attempt coming down here for Sage, but this is a big push coming across the map right now. Of course, the Observer will see everything. That is important scouting information. Obviously, the watchtower held as well. 1 Colossus on the field. A second one about half done. That second Colossus will really help things. 1 on its own could get sniped down, which would be a bit awkward, but for the moment, obviously, Sage should be able to defend this, especially once that second Colossus pops. Well, we've got the factory going down, a medevac could fall. That is a big loss if you lose a medevac at this stage, because that is half of your healing potential already gone. And well, here we go, we've got some infantry moving forward, some good force whips trying to prevent the retreat, get some units for pretty much free. That was a good engagement that actually leveled up the resources lost across this whole game so far. All through one very good engagement. That Colossus is trying to engage any way, which way it can, and for the moment has pushed Strelok all the way back to his base, which is very nicely going. Obviously, you've got good production from both players. Strelok doing a good job of managing his money, so is Sage. So this is both really high-level games. You have 1 Marine sitting there. The third base looks like it's going to be the target. Quite a few workers could potentially go down here if those Stalkers do decide to focus. No blink on the Stalkers, obviously, yet. And well, supply depots, they're getting picked off because of the vision on the high ground. 1 Viking out already. Another Viking in production. They are going to really try and focus down the Colossus. The second Colossus hasn't actually come over here yet, as far as I believe. So Obviously, there is one sitting somewhere. Third is already in production as well. Here comes the second Colossus. That's going to really help the way things go here, because infantry will start melting to kind of 2-3 Colossus. So that is all good. And of course, the biggest win there for Sage was forcing the lift on this orbital command and really securing his own third base behind it, because that is a real staple of StarCraft 2 strategy, is you push forward, expand behind, and that is precisely what Sage did, just showing a real good bit of class to his play right there. So really loving how this is going. A Twilight counter and the second forge on his way out. 2 forges, and you've already got a forge. Are you going for triple upgrades or something there? Because that would be pretty crazy if you went for triple upgrades. But of course, the +1 shields is on its way down. We already have, of course, the 1-1 upgrades done. So apparently it's going to be 2-2 with all of the upgrades. A slight pause was apparently going on there according to the chat, but that's all good. A very forward pylon now. That third base is going to be in trouble because those warpins are going to be so quick. Now we do have the +2 Protoss ground armor, and well, this third base yet again taking a lot of fire, and there is a couple of Vikings on the field, only 5 by my count. If you take a look, there's actually 4, so I can't count very well. But here we go, we've got some good force fields. The Stalkers are able to pick up one of the Vikings. Need to be careful though, because there's so much infantry there right now. We do have another warping of units, and well, those Zealots do not have charge. More Vikings getting taken down, and importantly, both Colossus are still up, or 3 are actually still up. So that is going to really allow Sage to keep the momentum on this push. Of course, the pylon there for the warpins, and it looks like Sage is just going to bait his opponent. Another lift forced on the third base. This is, of course, all delaying how much income Strelok is able to get up right now. A small group of Marines and Marauders are going to try and go to the third base, but a warpin preemptively there from Sage will prevent them doing too much. They will get sandwiched in as well. That means they could lose an awful lot of units, but potentially not getting too much, but do manage to focus down 2 Stalkers already. I doubt a 3rd Stalker goes down, but I could be proven wrong, because that was very close there. And of course that brought all of Sage's army back, allowing Strelok to move all of his units across the map, start taking that map control back again. Templar Archives on the way down for Sage now, so he's transitioning into those High Templar, as well as the Colossus. That means a lot of AoE damage in order to deal with the infantry. Quite a few Vikings up at the moment. No sign of a Ghost Academy yet as far as I can see, which unfortunately means that obviously those High Templar are going to be absolutely crazy, because the way you counter them with Terran is to get a Ghost down and EMP the hell out of them. Now, if we take a look here, we do have some scans going off for both players. Strelok just wants to know when it's safe to move up, and he's not going to get his army sandwiched. We do have some Stalkers coming from behind, and those Stalkers could be about to suicide into all of Strelok's army. They do try and get a nice pincer movement, a good blink out, but loses quite a bit, but not very much at all. At the moment, Sage is still just engaging more cost effectively than his opponent, but he doesn't have to worry too much, because he had a third base up for longer. If we look at the income of both these players though, we'll see Strelok has an amazing mineral income. We've got those Colossus doing huge damage right now, literally melting all of the infantry. The Vikings are getting focused down right now by those Stalkers, and well, Sage with a very good engagement right here, and now has 5 Colossus on the field, and the infantry is just going to completely melt to that much firepower, and that is precisely what we're seeing here. And Sage with an incredibly cost-effective engagement there, a great defense, and has really forced Strelok to run back to his base. But the counter-attack is, of course, what will be worrying. A probe sitting down here could drop a pylon, that would be brilliant. Psionic Storm on its way out. We've got 3 High Templar warping in, rather, and they're obviously going to go and join the fight. Their energy will start building up. We do have the +3 Protoss ground armor, the +2 Protoss weapons, and the +2 Protoss shields on its way as well. So this is some pretty heavily upgrading stuff going on here. The Colossus filling out those rocks, and well, we've got great filling forward already, and that is picking off unit after unit right now. All of the mules getting focused down, as of course you should, because they are a big part of the Terran's income. The Stalkers are taking quite a bit of damage, but do manage to blink away, and still Sage is engaging really well. He's killed double the amount of workers of his opponent. He is, for the first time, actually quite a long way ahead in terms of the worker count, which is good, and well, he needs to start thinking about taking a 4th base. The pylon suggests that that is in his mind already, that yep, I need a 4th base, so go and build it, Sage. That would be absolutely amazing, because your main is starting to get pretty low on minerals. Of course, the main base of Strelok already going down. Strelok's natural also pretty low. We do have these Colossus and Stalkers coming in now. They will get all of the units which are attempting to reinforce. All of the reinforcements are taken down. You have more Colossus joining in right now, but the Viking number is just too small, and the damage output of those Colossus is going to be absolutely huge. The Stalkers do blink forward, and just look at the damage being done everywhere. The reinforcements, the mineral line is getting focused, but of course the main army from Strelok right now is doing so much damage to those Stalkers. Sage does need to be careful. He is trying to focus it down now, but of course those couple of Colossus are falling. Some storms go down, and they don't get too much at the moment. And of course, this is not looking too good for Sage. Sage was doing so well, but of course a couple of Vikings are absolutely going to melt down the Colossus. The storms are on their way. We've got an Archon morphing in as well, but for the moment everything, and I mean literally everything of Sage has just died. That is not a good move. And to be honest, that has taken him from being in an absolutely dominating spot in terms of how many resources have been lost to really leveling it out. And now the only saving grace, of course, is the fact that Strelok hasn't taken his 4th yet, but that is what is happening right now. The fact he's floating it down as just the command center suggests to me that he is going to be going for a planetary fortress. Now, we do actually have out of Sage here the 333 upgrades. That's 3 shields, 3 ground armor, and 3 ground weapons. So very potent there, as you can see. The Colossus loss was the biggest for Sage right there, because they take a lot of time to build, especially with only the 1 robotics facility, I believe. So that is going to take a long time to rebuild those Colossus numbers, which were so devastating in the mid game. Now, of course, looking at all of this going now, we do have the Stalkers flooding forward, but look at this infantry. There's just so much stuff there for Strelok right now. The 4th base, potentially vulnerable, is morphing into a planetary fortress though, so once that's finished, it will take a lot of firepower to take it down, but to be honest, Sage is not in a position to be bringing a lot of firepower at the moment. He does still have the worker advantage. When you factor in the mules, it's probably pretty close, as you can see. Not too much of a difference. Sage is ahead in the income, but not hugely. Now, we've got a bit of engagement here. We do have the Stalkers blinking forward, picking off all of the Vikings. That was a good win right there. Those Zealots are soaking up a lot of the fire, tanking as best they can for the 2 Colossus that are out at the moment already. But still, those Zealots actually doing an incredibly good job against the Marauders, which are desperately trying to stim away. The medevac's getting taken down, and yet another great engagement for Sage. And this game is so interesting in the way that at one minute, one player loses everything, and then the next. But there is the GG from Strelok, who knows he cannot come back from that. And that was a really fun game. So guys, if you did enjoy, thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a cool comment, and then flick over to Game 2. It's on my channel. I'll see you there in a second. Bye for now.